and then go right to our guest to cover his nationwide investigation into the purposeful plan to wreck the country, domesticate the public. And his film couldn't be more timely right now because it shows all the people that believed in Obama that got screwed over. Now you see the black residents of Chicago and black residents of other areas just where everything's falling apart. They're getting, even kicked off their subsidies and everything, wondering why the border's wide open, because the plan is to collapse the country. Let's go to a clip from his new film.
Peggy Joseph took her daughter out of school early Wednesday. Her emotions ran high following Obama's speech.
I won't have to worry about putting gas in my car. I won't have to worry about paying my mortgage.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Are you Peggy Joseph?
Yes, I am.
I have a present for you. I brought you some ruby slippers.
Slippers?
Yes.
I didn't order any slippers.
I know. Well, I'm making a documentary. I'd like to talk to you. Do you mind?
I won't have to worry about putting gas in my car. I won't have to worry about paying my mortgage.
Did Obama pay for your mortgage? And did he pay for your gas?
Absolutely not. Mortgage got worse and prices got higher. During that time, we needed a change, but a change for the better, not for the worse. He had a very big voice, just like the Wizard of Oz. The wizard with this little teeny, tiny man. And I think it's the same thing with Obama, man behind the curtain. Not who we thought or expected him to be. I was Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. That's how I feel. I was Dorothy. I started getting a little bit more educated about politics and reading more. What I learned is never trust the wizard. It's within ourselves to have the determination, the courage, and the brains to bring us to our destiny.
Is America still the land of opportunity?
100%. It is. Anything that you want to do or become, you can do it in America.
No Place Like Utopia is the new film. And if it sells out in the first few cities it opens in, it'll get picked up nationwide like America 2016 and others have done. It was great to go to the movies last week and be able to have multiple choices at major theaters to go see America. Well, and which is not perfect, but certainly has some good aspects to it. It's like cyanide to these tyrants. But Joel Gilbert's film is going to be even more powerful. There's No Place Like Utopia, and it's now being released first in Denver. So he joins us here, and I have no financial stake in the film, though when it comes out on DVD, I intend to carry it at InfoWarsStore.com. I try to promote the Veritas Project and other people. I mean, we're just in this together. I mean, they have arrested James O'Keefe before. They have arrested Dinesh D'Souza. I've got all sorts of dirty tricks going against me right now, which only lets us know we're going to fight that much harder. We're never exploded faster. It's because we're effective and because we're starting to set the real agenda to get us out of this mess that they're coming after us. So that's why we got Joel Gilbert on. He, of course, made Dreams of My Real Father that I believe overwhelmingly puts on a stunningly convincing case that would convince a jury of who Obama's father really was. And he isn't from Kenya, folks. He isn't from Kenya. He looks just like the man who he would stay with in the summers, that his grandfather hung out with and was best buddies with, who was a famous communist and pornographer. And there's photos of him and a woman that is the spitting image of Obama's wife. I mean, Obama's mother. And I'm not going to go back through that. We sell that film, Dreams of My Real Father, at InfoWarsStore.com. And then you know why. In Harvard Law Review, he said he was from Kenya. And why in his book review prospectus, he said he was from Kenya. And why his wife in multiple speeches said he was from Kenya. And why they did that whole thing, putting out a bad birth certificate that was such an obvious fake. They did all of that as an elaborate, that's exactly how the CIA operates, to act like, oh, no, you found me out and then cover this up, when really it's because we know who his real daddy was. Unbelievable. And I want to get an update on that. But JoelGilbert.net. Joel Gilbert is here with us today. Joel, I want to talk some about the film because it couldn't be more timely. Tell us where it's opening and break down the film for us. I can't wait to see it. I've only seen excerpts. And then expanding on that, I want to talk about the waterfront with you because you're a smart guy. Have had your finger on the pulse. It looks like the progressive tyrants, the totalitarians, who aren't liberal in my view. I mean, Thomas Jefferson was a liberal. That's my saying, because he was. That's a liberal. These people are not liberals. You could call kind of George Washington a conservative, and you would call Thomas Jefferson a liberal of that age. That's how they were seen at the time. Totally different labels now, but I don't believe, I know they're going for broke right now, and you can see it on every front, so I want you to speak to that.
Okay, well, first of all, they're not liberal about anything except sex, drugs, and other people's money. Other than that, they're the most intolerant people that you could ever meet. My film does open in Denver. There's no place like Utopia, and it's kind of a play on the Wizard of Oz. Dorothy, there's no place like home. The idea of a socialist utopia, paradise on earth, is what binds together the ideology of Marxism and communism and progressivism. They say everything is step by step toward this perfect future. But we know in history, and we show this in the film, There's No Place Like Utopia, that every time a tyrant said, I'm the God on earth, Mao, Stalin, Lenin, Castro, follow me down this yellow brick road and I'm going to take you to paradise. Well, when they got to the Emerald City, when they got to paradise, Castro, Lenin, Mao sent them to the dungeons, gulags, collective farms, where they starved them to death and killed them, trying to force them to fit into this perfect utopia. Utopians murdered 100 million people in peacetime in the 20th century to force humanity into their socialist paradise. Unfortunately, I show this in my film, what we're seeing today is a repeat of this God on earth. Obama is going to be the leader and take everybody down this path, down the yellow brick road. We know what's happened in the last 30 years, and I go over this in the film. The Democrat Party has been taken over by the radical socialists. Obama's friends like Bill Ayers in the late 60s, they said things like, let's destroy America, let's replace the Constitution with the Communist Manifesto. Now that failed because it was evil. Nobody wanted to do that. Those guys ended up going to jail for murdering policemen and went underground. When they came out in the early 80s, they realized, let's just change our rhetoric. Instead of saying we want to destroy America, let's just say we want to help middle-class families. Let's say we want to raise the minimum wage. So these radicals took over the Democrat Party, and today the Democrat Party is a radical socialist party. Their agenda is the same. They just have different rhetoric and a different face, which is Barack Obama, who seems like a friendly guy. But as you alluded to in my last film, he's really a red diaper baby. He's the child of a Communist Party member, and he was radicalized in his youth and spent his entire life journey in this little-known world of American Marxism. And today he's in the White House agitating, just like he did in Chicago. He was a professional agitator. They use the word organizer because it sounds nicer, but he was a community agitator. The ideology is, let's rub salt in the wounds of minorities and use their discontent to take power and then discard them. Then he goes to the White House, where he's continuing to agitate. I met all these people. I go to Chicago, Southside Chicago, Detroit, Denver, Newark, and I talk to these people that have been living in these progressive cities for 50, 60 years, and it turns out they realize nobody is progressing. They're all regressing. 60% unemployment, drug culture, violence, schools are closed. So what's happening is they're bringing these failed policies that they destroyed our great cities with to Washington so they can impose it on the rest of the country. And in There's No Place Like Utopia, I put the whole story together so you can understand what the Obama of Oz is really up to and where the ideology comes from.
And by the way, Joel, I never got it completed, and then now it's an old film, so I'm making a whole new one. Obama Deception 2 is basically the film you're making. I'm glad yours got out. And it's not that I knew what you were doing or you knew what I was doing. It's the truth. We're sitting there looking at it, and again, there's this globalist ideology above it, but it's clearly using classic communist tactics down the line. And now that we see Obama in collapsing the border, shutting down the power plants, I mean, I make a big deal out of that because it's already doubled energy prices in 6 years for electricity. I mean, this is crippling people. If they hadn't done that alone, we wouldn't be in this depression. And so your film, from what you're saying, is so spot on. Your last film was so powerful. We need everyone which site should they go to learn about times and listings, and how do folks make sure they can get this shown in their city?
Okay, well, first you can see the trailer and other information at there'snoplaceLikeUtopia.com, and we have a theaters link that you can click on, and you can say, please bring There's No Place Like Utopia to my city. And when we expand, we send those out all over the country to the theater owners, and that helps quite a bit. But we're opening in Denver this weekend 5 times a day. I'm going to be there, and you can buy advance tickets on Fandango. If you know anybody in Denver, tell them to cancel their plans this weekend, and please come out, because if we do well this weekend, we're going to go nationwide and reveal the entire lie of progressivism in a way that everybody can understand. It's also, I call it humorous and horrifying, because the movie is a lot of fun. It rocks with music, but it shows and reveals.
Oh yeah, the trailer's incredible. And again, I'll use a cheesy Star Wars analogy here.